Senator from Hollenden, what purpose do you rise?
To see if the senator would yield.
For questions?
Yes.
For questions. Senator yields.
Senator, I'm not going to give you another attaboy. I think everybody in this chamber has given you an attaboy for all of the work that you've done on this legislation. Since I've been in the Senate, you've been talking about this issue, and you've done admirable work. But since I've been in the Senate, what I really want to ask you is, you are, since being over this subcommittee, you're the only subcommittee chair that actually handed out assignments to each of the subcommittee members to deal with each of the issues that you're talking about today. If I recall, and it was the first time I'd been, did you realize that it was the first time I'd been on a committee where, if you recall, I believe the senator from Charleston, Senator Kempson, was assigned through at our first medical affairs subcommittee on this bill. You gave him the financial aspects, and because you knew of my background in both representing law enforcement, defending them personally and previously through the state, I assigned me the law enforcement portion.
And you came up with work product that we then incorporated into the bill, because I recognize I'm a real estate lawyer, okay? I don't try DUI cases. I don't interact a lot with the police. And so you have that real world experience that was brought to bear on this bill in an area where I didn't have the experience. And it's my hope that this whole body now, in looking at this, can bring their experiences and make the bill even better.
Right. And in that regard, did you receive a report from me as it relates to law enforcement? And I think it goes to some of what Senator Loftus was asking earlier about issues and DUI stops, as well as some of the generalized issues that we've tried to weed out of this bill as it relates to what we looked at were concerns when you weighed the compassionate care of an individual versus protecting the society and protecting law enforcement concerns.
Yeah, I think one of the things, because of that process you're talking about, Senator, about this bill, when compared to the bills in the 36 other states, about to be 37 states that have legalized it, is it looks at some of those other aspects more thoroughly. For instance, workplace. The Chamber of Commerce, had concerns. They wanted to make sure that private employers still had the ability to have a drug-free workplace if they wanted to, that this wasn't going to be some sort of a requirement that they allowed their employees, to vape on the premises. So we added language in there to give the business community the comfort they wanted there. They wanted to control their workspace. And again, I'm happy to do it.
And if you recall, Senator, one of the chief things that Chief Keel was concerned about, and the times when I came up to Columbia and met just individually in a conference room with all of the law enforcement players on this issue, one of their primary concerns is if one of their officers ever wanted to, had to use this product. Well, and I think Chief Keel, did you know, his biggest concern that if they are prescribed this drug, then they can't carry a gun. Did we do what we could as it relates to protecting his concern regarding that issue?
We addressed all those concerns. The concerns, you identified concerns, and then you provided language that addressed those concerns that were then incorporated into the bill.
Right, and I didn't bring my binder here, but I took notes and I made sure that I brought those back to the subcommittee, because we met, it was several times that our committee met, but I brought those back. But at the end of the day, after we looked, because of course we all want law enforcement to be protected while they're out there doing their jobs and protecting us.
And that's, well, the staff's not up there anymore, but I think this entire body supports law enforcement, would never consider defunding law enforcement, which is why I was so confused when I got that email saying, were falling in line with those who wanted to fund the police, which,
Well,
which
and I hope that that's just the fringes, because we all in this line of business know we have to deal with the fringes, because I remember, after the first Medical Affairs Subcommittee that I was on, I got calls from folks. And I got calls from those officers that know me well, that work with me in and out, in not one, I think 3 different agencies called. One of the primary things, and I know you've heard it, I've heard some of the senators say it today, this is a gateway drug. Well, every time I hear that, I've asked, what is your data? How does it become a gateway drug when did you know that we in the United States permit opioids? But did you know when my daughter had excruciating pain after gallbladder, in Germany, that country will not permit the use or the prescribing of any opioids because of what it does to the receptors in the brain. But yet we allow that, and that's what really is considered one of the biggest gateway drugs. Did you know that?
I did, and one of the most compelling things, Senator from Colleton, is the direct correlation between the availability of cannabis as medicine and the decrease in opioids prescribed,
right?
The decrease in opioid overdoses. Right. And again, intuitively that makes sense, right? Because if you're going to prescribe something else like cannabis for chronic pain or for conditions that opioids are traditionally provided for, and if it works, which it does, you're going to see a drop in those opioid prescriptions. You're going to see a drop in those fatalities. And again, this isn't a talking point that I can't back up. I've got study after study after study that shows in those states they can compare it and show you. I gave statistics earlier about the decrease in the prescribing and the opioid deaths. And so, to me, those who argue against medical cannabis, to me, they don't factor in one of the obvious consequences of that, which is you're going to then turn to opioids, which are much more dangerous. They don't analyze that opportunity cost, okay, or that consequence. But by not doing this, we're keeping that same situation in place that is just deplorable right now.
That's right.
And
Senator, have you followed the communication with law enforcement when they make that argument that this is a gateway drug? I've questioned them over and over. Well, have you sat in court and seen the effects of case after case after case of marijuana? And then it's sad when you sit up there and you see someone say, and you see businessmen, businesswomen, people with jobs that are having to try to find a way to not use opioids and end up getting marijuana. Myself, the saddest case I saw was a gentleman in his 80s coming to court to plead to marijuana possession because he was getting it for his sick wife. That's sad. This is where we are in America.
It's what they're doing, Senator from Colleton, out of desperation, because the prescription drugs aren't working. That's right. And they're suffering, and they know something that will work, and especially if you have a loved one. I honestly, I don't think anybody in this chamber, if they had a daughter or a son that had that pain and there was no prescription, again, these are the conditions before a physician can authorize its use. Prescriptions can't help, okay? That's one of the conditions. That marijuana would relieve that suffering, that they would deny that to their child. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So what we're doing, in a sense, is we're acknowledging, and I think I had a conversation with, I think Senator Johnson even said, well, maybe I might do it. But he would still feel bad about it because it was illegal. Well, I want to make it not illegal anymore. But if you're knowingly saying, yeah, I'd break the law because I think it's the right thing to do, why is that the law?
Exactly, but this bill makes it so if you are prescribed, you have to have identification on you at all times. It's in a central system. The average person who are doing this for a fake reason, that's what a lot of law enforcement challenge us, that these people are going to fake these physical. The average person who really have a prescription from a doctor, have this card, are registered and have the right to this particular drug, if you are doing it for nefarious reasons, you wouldn't want to be into the database of South Carolina.
Well, and you just reminded me of something said from Colleton. I think as a matter of economics, it doesn't make any sense that somebody's going to lie to their doctor, try to fake their doctor out, and subject themselves to a felony.
That's right.
As opposed to a misdemeanor. I mean, if you want to smoke something recreationally and for adult use, you're not going to get a medical card and subject yourself to a felony conviction for diverting it for recreational use. Moreover, you're not going to do it because it's going to be much more expensive for medical because it's gone through this entire process. You've had independent lab testing. It's been labeled. You got quality control. It's going to be much more expensive. So this idea that I don't get how legalizing medical under these limited conditions is going to lead to a spike in recreational use. It doesn't make any sense economically. It doesn't make any sense in terms of penalties if you're caught.
Right.
You go to jail, it's a felony, up to 5 years in prison. We put that in there too. Again, to my point about underscoring, we're serious about this. This is medicine, and there are substantial consequences that will occur to you if you do not treat it like medicine.
Right. And Senator, wouldn't you agree, and this is my last question / point, wouldn't you agree that this isn't a power play between taking care of our most sick and vulnerable South Carolinians versus whether or not we support the police? Wouldn't you agree?
No. And that's, of all the things that was in that email, that's the most offensive.
That's right.
That by somehow, not only I'm apparently now the leader of an industrial marijuana complex, okay, so that's another thing, but to somehow say.
No, you're also not a party boy either.
But to somehow say that since I'm for this bill, and because I want to empower doctors to help patients under very limited circumstances, that I'm in the same cloth of those out there who want to defund the police. I mean, that's why I went and pulled that statistic up. We respect our law enforcement here in South Carolina, as we should. And we show that in the best way possible, which is appropriating funds and giving them the support they need. I know Senator Martin, who has that subcommittee, he has never begrudged a law enforcement request that was meritorious. Never.
Right.
Because that's not who we are in South Carolina. Again, we're South Carolina. We're not another state. We're South Carolina. And to throw that in there, it spoke to me like a buzzword. They want to throw a buzzword in there so people will be afraid that if you vote for this bill, somebody's going to attack you and say you're for defunding the police.
So the challenge is protecting those and giving compassionate care, giving the authority to the patient and their doctor versus making sure that we acknowledge law enforcement, but
Absolutely.
asking them to come to the table and just don't give a blanket statement, oh, it's a gateway drug. Give us ways to protect and make this bill better.
And I'm open to that. I mean, again, this is our bill, okay? This is all of our bill, and this is something I want us all to have input on. I've already got my assignment to write down about maybe do something about pharmacists, maybe do something about some other things, but there are ways to make this bill better. I don't pretend otherwise.
Thank you very much.